People are going to have to start paying their fair share in taxes.
Their fair share? Are you paying your fair share? What would that be?
Do you have a specific on the tax rate?
You know, you look at our tax rates back in the 60s.
On 60 Minutes, the darling of the progressive movement didn't appear to have a specific rate in mind. But then she said,
Sometimes you see tax rates as high as 60 or 70%.
Suddenly, that became the progressive plan.
I can support folks at the top paying their fair share.
70%, 80%. We've had it as high as 90%.
90% was the top tax rate when I was a kid. And now Democrats say if we just raise taxes on the wealthy, government will have plenty of money to pay for all their wonderful programs. But it's a myth. What progressives don't say is that
no one actually paid anywhere close to those rates.
No one?
No one.
Economic historian Phil Magnus says it's not surprising that progressives don't know that 90% tax rates didn't bring in lots of money.
You know, who has the time and the interest to sit around and dig through that line by line?
You.
Me, I'm apparently the guy.
He's researched old tax codes for over a decade. You must be a really boring guy.
I can be.
During World War II, America's 90% tax bracket didn't bring in that much more money because rich people found loopholes. And then, because the high rates discouraged work, President Kennedy backed a bill that lowered the top rate to 70%.
The billions of dollars this bill will place in the hands of the consumer and our businessmen will have both immediate and permanent benefits to our economy.
But it turned out that the 70% rate wasn't very real either. No one paid 70%, let alone 90%. What did they pay?
A millionaire, on average, would pay 41%.
Because when taxes are high, rich people find loopholes.
There's all these deductions and exemptions and carve-outs that are intentionally baked into the tax code.
Newspapers ran ads. Cruise for free. $2,499 value.
And basically take a vacation around the Caribbean, but while you're on board the ship, you attend, say, an investing seminar or a real estate seminar, and then write off the trip.
The whole trip.
The whole trip.
Deductions became so complex that rich people, instead of inventing, say, a precursor to the iPhone, hired accountants to study the tax code.
Who can afford the best accountants? It's always the wealthy.
Today, the top tax rate is 37%. The top rate started dropping again after Ronald Reagan said 70% was outrageous.
Our tax system could only be described as un-American.
And the Democrats actually agree with them. Reagan goes to the table and says, let's make a deal. We can cut the rates down to something closer, an approximation to what we have today, and in exchange, we'll consolidate the tax code.
Vacation deductions and other exemptions were killed, leading to a slightly simpler tax code, and, surprise, the lower rates brought in just as much money. Turns out that tax revenue as a percentage of the economy stays about the same, no matter what the top tax rate is. When rates are high, rich people sometimes work less.
It's just economics. People don't work to pay taxes.
Economist Art Laffer told President Reagan, rich people will evade high taxes.
They'll change where they earn their income. They'll change how they earn their income. They'll change how much they earn. When they receive the income, they'll change all of those things to minimize taxes.
They will leave the United States.
And this not yet president pointed out that if taxes go up, rich people may move away. You haven't left.
I haven't left yet.
Are you going to leave?
Big story if I leave, I guess. If I leave New York, that's a big story. Look, the rich people are going to leave, and other people are going to leave. You're going to end up with lots of people that don't produce, and then that's the spiral. That's the end.
And that's what's happened, and there's some European examples. So France attempted a massive tax on its wealthiest earners. And what they found is the business people left in a mass exodus from the country.
But progressives are selective when they look at history.
Under Republican administration, Dwight Eisenhower, we had 90% marginal tax rate.
The government will collect more and do good things.
Well, that's the claim, but you're asking for an economic disaster. So I ask the question, do we leave it in the private sector where the market decides, or do we subject it to corrupt politicians?
I say, let the market decide. Of course, when the market decides, some people get really rich. And then progressives say,
the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
But that's not true. The poor don't get poor. That's another economic myth. We'll cover that in an upcoming video.